program designed to appeal to the consciousness of our youth in choosing the right path in life and to de-emphasize the importance of finding shortcuts to success. These and many other issues will be the focus on Role Model. Join Oluwatobi Babarinde on OSBC TV, channel 113 on Start Time and 502 on Free TV every Monday 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Role Model, it promises to be educating and interesting. Watch out.
Yes, it promises to be educating and interesting. Well, our viewers, you are once again welcome on another edition of the program Role Model, coming to you directly from the stables of Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Ile-Awiye, Oke-Bale, Osogbo. This is how we do it on the show every Monday at this time. Yes, Role Model is a program that was designed to address issues pertinent to our younger generations, and we also look at it from the perspective, holistic approach into those issues that can make our society a better place, and you and I, of course, the younger generation, can stand the test of time. If you look at the society today, we have a lot of social vices, a lot of issues that are eating deep into the nooks and crannies of society, and this is coming from our youth. This is one of the issues that we address on this program. What are those things that the youth, what are those things that we need to pay attention to be a responsible and a useful youth of the nation tomorrow, the future tomorrow? This is one of the essence and what we want to look at on the edition of the program Role Model today. Well, I'm doing justice to the topic. Education is the topic I want to look at, the role and the significance of solid and sound education in the life of our younger generation individual, so that you're able to stand on your own and defend what you have, the certificate you are able to defend it, and a lot of issues along that line. This is what we want to look at on today's edition of the program. Well, my guest is already seated. It's not a new person on the program. He's a friend of the house on this program. He's somebody who's passionate about the younger generation, the youth. He's a public speaker, and it's somebody that loves so much. Yes, I have with me in the house Mr. David Okundechi. We call it Mr. Dave. Welcome on the program.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here again.
It's not the time we have you. How is life generally?
We thank God everything is going on fine.
Yes, because of paucity of time. Yes, education is very key. The program is Role Model. Like we are used to it. The role of someone having education, especially a very solid one for that matter, it cannot be underestimated, especially if the nation want to try. It's a pillar that stands on the development. Development stand upon which cannot remove this younger generation from. But introduce yourself to us. Let you have somebody who's versatile over there today. Then we go into it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the concept of education. By the way, my name is David Ayodeji. As a way of introduction, we are into education business. We train, we impart knowledge into the society. Today, the subject of discussion, education, as it pertains to national development and the development of the society. Education, by definition, is a lifelong learning process. Whichever way we look at it, either in a formal way or in an informal way, education is a lifelong journey. You don't graduate from learning. Either you acquire knowledge in the four walls of a school or outside the school setup. Education is what you acquire on a daily basis. But we have so limited ourselves in this part of the world to the four walls of the education, which is the formal education. You see, someone that is in the village can sell everything he or she has to sponsor the children to the school, because they believe that education is a pathway to progress. So you see a villager, a farmer in the village, in my local village, will sell his farm produce only to sponsor his or her child to school. After selling all our farm produce, he will take the money and enroll the child to a school, believing that when he or she enroll that child in a school, the future of that child will be bright. So education is a pathway to progress if it is being given correct definition, and if we go the right way. Education, in every developed society, they prioritize education. In every developed society, talk about China, talk about America, talk about developed nations, you see that their investment in education, their policy in education is not small. They don't joke about education. So education is what we must invest in as parents, as leaders, our political leaders. We see that in this part of the world, our leaders prioritize developing natural resources. They construct roads using our natural resources, they construct bridges, and several physical infrastructural developments are taking place at the expense of the people, the inhabitants, that will use the things they are building. Look at the example of what happened during the NSAS protest. Because people were not having the right kind of education, they believe that they can take things into their hands and destroy their own property, thinking it belongs to government. Any property you destroy is your own. The government are just instrumental to facilitate those projects. They are for citizens. So you see them, they were looting, they were destroying, they were burning properties. Several properties were destroyed in Lagos, burnt, because people were not thoroughly informed. The things they burnt, it is from the commonwealth of the citizens that those things were bought. The buses were burnt, houses were burnt, things were destroyed. They thought these things are for government and they must destroy it. So you see, when people are not given the right quality education required, the nation cannot progress.
Okay.
So our policies in education, maybe we'll talk about policies in education, how we need as a government, as a people, how we need to begin to invest into policies that will transform the mind of people. Because when the mind is transformed, the mind has the capacity to develop the society. When the mind is well equipped, it will naturally transform the society. So we need to begin to invest into people, making policies that will develop the mental reasoning, mental faculties of people, so that they will integrate what they have learned into the society.
Okay, thank you. I love that introduction. That was very in-depth and very key. We are really talking about education for national development, education in virtually formal and informal. But let's look at it this way. When we talk about education in Nigeria as pertinent to this younger generation, the program is role model, bring it down on there. What would you say the standard of education has really dropped vis-a-vis this recent performance or we saw on social media and a lot of issues like that? What would you say could be the factor responsible for this? And you rightly talk about policy. The government putting in place policies that can facilitate and fast track development and inculcate good virtues and a lot of things into this younger one. But I want to take on this. How do we address that area of education that is not that reflecting on what we have, defending what you think you have the certificate?
If I will be blunt, I would say that education in this part of the world is deteriorating. There is great decadence in educational sector. You can't address the 21st century children with the 19th or 18th century approach. They call them Gen Z. Things are moving. We have education is going global. There's a globalization that is ongoing, where you see nurses, medical practitioners moving out of Nigeria to go to other countries to go and practice. It's not because they are not intelligent in Nigeria, but they believe that those environments will make them to deploy their potentials to better use, and they will compensate them adequately. The dream of every medical personnel in Nigeria now is to travel out of the country to go and practice in an environment where he or she will be well appreciated.
Enabling environment, conducive environment.
So it's not encouraging. There is a great demoralization. There is a great depression in the heart of people. We need to say, okay, after spending several years, burning several candles to acquire degrees and to acquire some level of education, you still see that many after this process, they still roam about the street. There must be the professional angle, there must be the practical angle to the education, the kind of education that we give. There must be the kind of practicalization. Somebody that has gone to school for 5 years to study mechanical engineering cannot come out to do the servicing of the car. or to change a small part from a car. And they spend 5 years. The policy, the education, the kind of education that is not practicable that we are giving is frustrating. After spending 5 years of your life to study mechanical engineering, he has never held a spanner. He has never held a spanner. He cannot lose the bolt. He cannot lose a bolt and nut. He cannot change the wheel of a car. After spending 5 years, 5 solid years of his life studying mechanical engineering, studying civil engineering, he has never done any meaningful project, simple project that he can use his mental reasoning to bring to table and to execute. So we need to get back to practical education where people can connect their daily life activities to what they are learning. It's not enough to just go to school, spend years at school, and learning what cannot be applicable in the real life.
Okay, thank you. You already talked about globalization of education, and the world is a global village, like we all know. But I want you to look at it from this perspective. A lot of people, a lot of stakeholders within the education sector, they are coming out saying that some of this issue of social media has even wreaked more havoc, because we see the way at which these younger people deploy some of these things into this negative side, but at the same time the positive side. How do we you already talk about policy, probably from that area too, and also vis-a-vis parents monitoring ability to be able to put all of things together so that we can have these younger people that can stand on their side, can defend what they have, and also protect the image of Nigeria and Africa in general for good. What would your take on this?
Yes, I think it still begins with the foundation, the foundation that we give. The foundation we give to our children matters a lot. If you train them well from there is greater advantage of the social media than the demerits. You can sit right here and be receiving lectures even in different countries of the world. So there are advantages. We just need to tune and retune
their memories.
The memories of okay, let's tune them to the positive side instead of them tilting. If they see more advantages, maybe they see more benefits, it will help them than using time on the wrong side. Everything, technology has both advantage and disadvantage. We just need to focus more on the advantages. Let's channel our energies on how we can use this thing to our advantage.
How do we do that? How do we get that on the children?
Now, training. It starts with training. Because most of the lecturers that are even teaching our children, are teaching our youths, are not well educated.
ICT.
They are not well educated in every strata. They can't compete globally. Some of them started their primary school in the Osun State, secondary school, university, youth corps. Every of their educational journey in life started in the same state. They recycle, and they become lecturers still in that state. They've never explored what is outside. So they limit themselves to the environment, and the people they are teaching or training comes under their limitation. So there must be room for exposures where a lecturer in Nigeria can travel to Ghana for further studies, where a lecturer in Osun State can go to Abuja for further studies, where a lecturer in Nigeria can go to America for further studies. When they come back, they will come back with new exposures, new ideas, new visions, new innovations. This will strengthen. There are advantages. There are lots of advantages on the internet. We need to just begin to use them rightly. And there's no way you can train, in this 21st century, there's no way you can train children without the use of technology, information technology. There is no way. We must expose them so that when they get out of the country, they will not be stranded. We can't limit everybody to this country. Some people will still find themselves in another country. They should be able to cope wherever they find themselves. That is education. Education makes your mind broad. That anywhere you find yourself, by the reason of research, study, and knowledge, you can perform effectively. So, lack of preparation. The people that we hand over educational system onto, they are not well skilled, well trained. I'm here to see the government policies that set aside certain amount of money for the training and retraining of our lecturers. Lecturers in our institution, this fund is set apart for the training and retraining of these lecturers. You see, a lecturer once he gets the employment.
Government has some fund. You have TED fund. You have some of these.
TED funds are for the projects in schools, not for lecturers.
So what would you say? The government is also trying, but they need to do more.
They need to do more. Give scholarship to lecturers. Give scholarship to secondary school teachers.
And even monitor that fund.
Monitor those funds. Let them access credit facilities that can help them. You see, a teacher in secondary school, once he has been employed, we never aspire to learn more till he or she retires after 35 or 30 years in service. We never acquire any other additional knowledge. They are stopped. They get the job, they are there, government is just paying them, and they are doing year in, year out. The same thing they learned 30 years ago is still what they are passing down. Nothing new. Policies. Government policies. So let the government just set the policies in place, and the policy will run the system. We don't need to monitor them around that, okay, the policy is what we checkmate everybody, and they will do the right thing, and the system will be there. The education we should be giving now as a nation is the education that targets national development. Education that targets transformation in the society. It's not just going to school to just acquire a degree, but the mind must be developed, that when you come out, you must have, everybody coming out of the university must have that entrepreneurial spirit out of the trainings that they have been given. So they should come out not becoming a job seeker, but they are out to solve the problem of the society. We are raising millions of youth as a nation every year. Year in, year out, millions of youths are graduating. And these youth become so hopeless that they can sell their father's house to travel to another country.
Okay, Mr. Dave, I'm afraid we don't have time on our side. Let's try and round off. In concrete terms, when we talk about this, this issue of education, we have a lot of stakeholders vis-a-vis the concept of this program, role model. You have the parent, you have the government, which you have been talking about. We have, the society itself, and also even the role of religious leaders and some of these people. All of these things culminated into bringing up a society that can stand the test of time in our younger generation. To cap it up, what would be your advice in few minutes?
Yes, education is the prime engine of human progress. The prime engine, the very prime engine of human progress. We cannot progress beyond the level of education we are giving to our people. A parent must invest everything possible to give his or her children the right education. The religious leaders must get involved now. When I read the report of Covenant University, Landmark University, Redeemers University, I'm so amazed. Religious institutions, Muslim, Christians, traditional worshippers, everybody must get involved in education, because that is the prime engine of the progress of human being. Teach them everything in the religious circle. If they don't have the right education, you go nowhere.
The society at large.
So the society too must get involved in the business of education. We must give the people under us the right education, and that is what will make them have progress in a very visible eyes.
I want to sincerely appreciate you, Mr. Dave,
for
coming on today's edition of the program Role Model. Even though it's a very short version of the program because of what the program the governor just heard, but we could see we have really touched a lot of things, and I want to believe our viewers must have picked one or two things from our discussion today. If I'm very correct, why don't you make it a day with us, God's willing, same time next week, when we have another interesting, scintillating package edition of the program Role Model. I want to sincerely appreciate all members of my production crew. Until next week, God's willing, when we have another topic to discuss on this program, I am Oluwatobi Babarinde. Say bye-bye and God bless you, Rigo.
Any other issues will be the focus on Role Model. Join Oluwatobi Babarinde on OSBC TV, channel 113 on Star Time and 502 on Free TV every Monday 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Role Model, it promises to be educating and interesting. Watch out. Role Model, Role Model, Role Model. Role Model is a program designed to appeal to the consciousness of our youth in choosing the right path in life and to